Hey guys, welcome back. This is AJ with Everyday Patio, and today we're going to be going through a louvered patio cover build. So here's what it looked like at the end. It's a pretty awesome build. We have 3 bays and we had 6 1-inch lights in the center of the beams put on it. So pretty straightforward on that end. White louvers and black frame, and we use a Lutron wireless switch right there for the lights. So those lights are color adjustable, which is cool. I wasn't able to get any night shots with them, but you know, they're just 1-inch lights that kind of go in between the 2x8 frame. And here's the start of the build. So we're gonna have 2 posts, one lined up with 2 of the bays and attached to the house with the header, and then the other post at the far corner. Here's the 2x8 frame here. That's the pivot strip and like the louver frame. And then that's the 6x6-inch post over there. And right there, that U-channel you see at the bottom is kind of where we're gonna cut our strips for all the U-channel brackets that attach. And those right there are the gutters. So every louver bay is gonna have a gutter on each side of it. And those are the louvers. So you can see the spot for where the pin goes, and then there's another spot for where the pin for the pivot strip goes. So on this design, we're gonna go for 0 edge. I'm gonna cut the posts, as you see right there, to where we have like 8 inches down on each side, and then 2 sides of the post are going. This is gonna be our corner post. I used the grinder in the beginning to kind of finish off that cut because you can't go all the way through with the blade or you'll overcut it. But I ended up just getting a multi-purpose like metal blade for my multi-tool, which is actually working a lot faster than the grinder in the end. And that's kind of nipping off the little corners where like the beam has to sit flush, and the gutters. And you see those have to be a pretty accurate cut, so you just want to adjust the depth on your saw so it's only barely going through, and then make sure you're going all the way through to the edge so that the beam doesn't sit in too far. And that's with the ledger board up right there. That's going to support the back of the louver. You saw us putting up our hangers, and we're leveling off right there where that one's going to go. So this was fascia board attached. If you're freestanding, you just have posts on that side. We added clips at the end for the fascia board just for extra support. And then we had, to run our electrical lines through. So on that, through each one of those silver channels you see coming off of the house, the U channels, there's like a 1-inch hole, and that's where we're gonna pull out our low voltage lines for the louver. And then we're gonna pull out our 12 gauge outdoor wire for the lights. And that was just to match the electrical that they had at the house. You could use 14 gauge if that's what they have. And those are the same strips that you're using to attach your 2x8s are the same things that we're using to mount to the ground on here. So just make sure to put at least like 4 red heads. And here you saw where I put those 2 cuts into the post. This is where it kind of makes more sense because it's covering up, you don't need like a bracket or like a cap or anything on that corner. And then that other post, we left 1 flange on right here, you can see if you look, and that's where the other beam is going to connect into it. So if you want to add extra support, you could add like U-channels underneath as well at the bottom of that post, but here in Southern California, we don't have extreme loads or any like wind conditions to really account for. So if you're in a snow load area, you could add like one of those U-channel brackets underneath the area just to add like an extra connection. And those are the first gutter pieces going in. So here's that 12 gauge gray wire I was talking about, and that low voltage wire. For the louvers, the actual louver remote that's gonna like move everything, like in the pivot strip, that's all low voltage that we're gonna put into an inverter and then attach it to our 12 gauge wire to basically finish load from AC to DC. So it sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but basically low voltage to inverter to regular house wire. And we're just pulling them up through a 1-inch hole at the top. So kind of what I also learned on this, like kind of the cleanest way, is where we end up putting the louver motor. Just drill a 1-inch hole at the back of it, and then you can attach your wires with like outdoor wire nuts. that have like silicone in them, and then put it back into that 1-inch hole and seal the hole. And that's a really clean way to kind of have that louver, you know, be able to open and close and like still have everything like protected from the elements and like where your connection is. That's the receiving channel for the louvers that you saw us just putting on the left and right side. So that's gonna go on each side of the bays. And then the louvers, you can see once you put the pin on each side, goes and sits in that. And that's how we attach the gutter to the 2x8. Right there, that's the gutter basin. And that's the remotes I was talking about. So that's that attaches to the wireless remote, which is gonna open and close each bay with the motor on the louvers. And then that right there, the silver part, is the inverter. So the inverter goes into the black part, positive, negative, and then you have our regular neutral, ground line and live line going into the inverter. And those 3 lines that I don't have connected at the top, that's going to be for our Lutron wireless switch, which I showed you earlier in the video. So to have the louvers connect here, you kind of go all the way one way and all the way the other, and then it kind of clips into a little lip right there. The first one, we had a little bit of trouble on this, so we had to take off one of the lips just because of the gutter. I didn't want to remove the gutter on the house because that's going to handle a lot of the water load that comes off. They had multiple roof pitches, but other than that, they all went in fairly easy. And that's the top pin that's going to go into the pivot strip. So that white pivot strip right there attaches onto those. There's like a little plastic piece and then like a kind of lock nut that you put on there. That you see that we're hitting on with that, I think it's like a 10 millimeter socket was the easiest way we could find. And then you attach the remote. So it's about like, I think it's like a 15/16 hole. It's like a little bit less than 3/8 for that. And then once you attach the louver like with 2 to 3 screws in the back, and then you see like I'm connecting the lines right there. We're using those waterproof wire nuts, then sticking it back in the 1-inch hole, and that's us testing. So what I learned on this, it's good to open up the louver a little bit, so when you back it up all the way, it closes the louver, like before you connect it there, and to leave it like not loose, but not too tight so that everything's able to open and close on there, as you can see right there. Because if it's too tight, it's gonna have a hard time like adjusting. That's it, opening and closing. I really matched the aesthetic on this house, like with the TimberTech decking and like, you know, everything going on. So depending on your property, a louver can be a really good option. What I like about this louver from Four Seasons, I like that the louver blades are smooth on the bottom, and then it's just like a simple, easy design to throw up. Like a lot of those you can get like kits online, like 10x10 like louver kits. They just kind of look a little bit cheap and don't match your house exactly. So this is like a good way to get one designed, custom built for your house. And this is gonna weather pretty much any weather conditions in the United States. I think we also service Canada with them, but it's a good overall system that can handle like any loads, you know, hurricane, snow loads. It's a good like nationwide patio cover system. So I like that about the system. It comes in about 8 different colors. If you're looking to like add lights and fans, you just got to make sure you're lining up with those louver bays. Some people add like cross bays, but for the aesthetic on this one, we chose to kind of go with this layout. And then as far as spans, I think we're going to like up to 16 feet like for bays. This one was like right on the span of like 15. And here's the final walkthrough. So you can see the pivot strip and the motors and everything set up. And it really lets that light through. Like my favorite position for the louvers is partially open like this because you get the airflow, you get the light, and it kind of gives you that aesthetic of the louver that you're really kind of looking for when you put this on your home. So yeah, I'm really stoked with how this turned out. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and Everyday Patio out.